Hello, everybody. My name is Ray, and today will be doing colored commentary on Donald Trump taking on Chris Wallace over critical race theory, and also Joe Biden is there. So, without further ado, let us roll tape.
This month, your administration directed federal agencies to end racial sensitivity training that addresses white privilege or critical race theory. Why did you decide to do that, to end racial sensitivity training? And do you believe that there is systemic racism in this country, sir?
So, right off the start, Chris Wallace is asking the question from an extremely biased premise. He is already framing the question in a way that Donald Trump is supposed to look bad if he refutes the idea of critical race theory. He's framing the question in a biased way, and he did that all night long in this debate. And Donald Trump wisely rejects the premise. Watch what he does here.
I ended it because it's racist. I ended it because a lot of people were complaining that they were asked to do things that were absolutely insane, that it was a radical revolution that was taking place in our military, in our schools, all over the place, and you know it, and so does everybody
what
else.
Is radical,
and he would know.
What is radical
totally
about racial sensitivity training, sir?
If you were...
See, already, instead of Joe Biden arguing with Donald Trump, which is the point of this debate, Chris Wallace is arguing with Donald Trump, and he's asking a follow-up, what is so radical about racial sensitivity training? And President Trump is explaining that, these trainings are teaching people radical ideas, and it's infesting the military, the education system, and that's what he's explaining. Now, Donald Trump is not an expert on critical race theory, but he knows enough to know that this is wrong. He knows enough to know that this is anti-American. And Chris Wallace is trying to debate President Trump on this issue.
For a certain person, you had no status in life. It was sort of a reversal. And if you look at the people, we were paying people hundreds of thousands of dollars to teach very bad ideas and, frankly, very sick ideas. And really, they were teaching people to hate our country. And I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to allow that to happen. We have to go back to the core values of this country. They were teaching people that our country is a horrible place, it's a racist place, and they were teaching people to hate our country. And I'm not going to allow that to happen.
Vice President Biden?
So that is a good answer. And that's a pretty wonky answer for President Trump to give on his part. Because, he's not, like I said, he's not an intellectual guy. He is not a subject matter expert on critical race theory, but he knows it's wrong. He's not a Marxist. Let's hear Joe Biden.
Doing that. He's the racist.
You just don't.
Here's the deal. I know a lot more about this than he does.
Let him finish.
The fact is that there is racial insensitivity. People have to be made aware of what other people feel like, what insults them, what is demeaning to them. It's important to people know they don't want to.
Okay, I got to stop Joe Biden right there. If Joe Biden were a regional manager at Dunder Mifflin, we would have had 5 Diversity Day episodes of The Office. He has said comments that are beyond racist. More recently, it would include his, you ain't black comments. He's going to put you all back in chains, which he said about Mitt Romney, of all people, in 2012. Joe Biden has a history of racial comments and just a demeaning view of black people.
Many people don't want to hurt other people's feelings, but it makes a big difference. It makes a gigantic difference in the way a child is able to grow up and have a sense of self-esteem. It's a little bit like how this guy and his friends look down on so many people. They look down their nose on people like Irish Catholics like me and grew up in Scranton. They look down on people who don't have money. They look down on people who are of a
Speaking of The Office, he references Scranton, Pennsylvania.
different faith. They look down on people who are a different color. In fact, we're all Americans. The only way we're going to bring this country together is bring everybody together. There's nothing we cannot do if we do it together. We can take this on and we can defeat racism
Vice
in America.
President,
So I don't think Joe Biden knows what he's talking about here. I think he successfully avoided a lot of racial sensitivity trainings because no one goes to a racial sensitivity training and comes out with higher self-esteem. They come out annoyed at the waste of time that they just endured. So I don't know what Joe Biden sees in this, but let's see how Trump responds here.
President Trump, sir.
During the Obama-Biden administration, there was tremendous division. There was hatred. You look at Ferguson. You go to many places. Look at Oakland. Look what happened in Oakland. Look what happened in Baltimore. Look what happened. Frankly, it was more violent than what I'm even seeing now.
Oh, my
but
Lord.
the reason is that
ridiculous.
the Democrats that run these
Absolutely
cities
ridiculous.
don't want to talk like you about law and order.
I don't actually think Joe Biden knows what critical race theory is. Earlier in this debate, he kind of struggled to articulate the critical race theory talking points. I think Joe Biden is an old school Democrat who will play ball with the Marxists in his party. Now, along those lines, Joe Biden seems to think that the country can unite under, using critical race theory, and that's just laughable. Critical race theory is about dividing, in the case of race, it is about dividing between racial dynamics. So white people are the bourgeois, and then the everyone else is the proletariat. That's the purpose of critical race theory. It's to expand the proletariat so that you can eventually have a Marxist revolution. That is the point of critical theory. That is why it's called cultural Marxism. It is all about expanding the proletariat beyond what classical Marxism did. So now the debate goes into a different direction towards law and order. I think the point about Trump fighting critical race theory has been made, and I think he did a good job. I think this was one of his more fine moments in this debate, and I don't think he had a great debate just because I think he missed too many opportunities to not only let Joe Biden falter, but also to spike the ball in his face. Now, there's so many articles about evangelicals as a voting bloc and how and why evangelicals voted for Trump in 2016 and why they will vote again in 2020. And instances like this are why. We see Donald Trump fighting critical race theory. This is a big issue in Christian circles, and how grassroots evangelicals are rising up to fight this in their churches, and Donald Trump is fighting it in the rest of society. And we see Donald Trump fighting this Marxist ideology that is ultimately part of a false gospel, a pagan religion. And a lot of the pastors out there are not. A lot of the pastors are silent on this issue. They are not fighting critical race theory, critical theory in general, and Donald Trump is. Donald Trump is actually fighting this issue. And I was actually shocked when he took up this issue. I didn't think that he would, because, Donald Trump is not super principled, but he's more principled than most Republicans, apparently. But this is why evangelicals support Trump. It's simple as that. Now, that's all I got to say about that. My name is Ray. Be sure to subscribe to this channel so you do not miss the next one.